The Binding of Isaac Rebirth is a valiant game where you play a child journeying through his basement, smiting evil demons and slaying monsters to find his mother and kill her, in order to reach his mother's heart, and kill that too. It's a randomly generated dungeon crawler with heavy roguelike elements and obese rage-inducing elements, praised for its long playtime with 500 hours of varied and mechanical gameplay. Varied gameplay like a 25 game lost streak, and mechanical gameplay as in, good luck dodging this bullet spam cunt. The original game was a flash game called The Binding of Isaac, much like the current game but worse in every way. After the flash game came Wrath of the Lamb DLC, and then The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, Afterbirth, Afterbirth Plus, and then Repentance. The latest DLC has had some mixed reviews because it's hard as balls, but I'm a veteran player with hundreds of hours played, and have spent the last month getting creamed continuously by the sack of poo, reminding me of why I love the game so much. If a sack of shit shitting on you doesn't remind you of your place in the world, what will? Like Among Us and Minecraft, Isaac's relevance is dependent on several 30-year-old guys playing the game non-stop with thousands of people watching them backseating their every move. The energy dispersed into chat every time a streamer misses a tinted rock is actually directly harnessed by Edward McMillan himself to nerf all the strong items. The amount of tears from 20 IQ people suggesting 200 IQ plays that don't work, if collected, could be used to end water shortage in Africa, before the salt makes them all thirsty again. So it seems suitable that the player weapon in the game is tears, which is how you deal damage. You take damage from enemy contact or their tears, poo, and other projectiles they throw at you. The stats of your character will depend on the items you pick up along the way. You can find these items in treasure rooms, boss rooms, shops, and just around the place. Items vary in many different applications, from the deadly brimstone laser to poo. Isaac is full of hundreds of items which you will eventually grow to learn, and thousands of items that you will never learn. As a heads up, items to look out for include Godhead, Mum's Knife, and Abel. And items to look out for include Curse of the Tower, Isaac's Heart, and Abel. Trinkets are objects that you hold onto that give secret bonus effects. You can only hold one trinket at a time though, unless of course you have Mum's Bag, or the item smelter, or maybe you're just built different. Most of the time it's not clear what any of them do, but after over 500 hours of gameplay, I can share with you all the trinkets I have come to learn. Cancer is a tears up and curved horn is a damage up, and that is about the extent of my expertise. I've been asking for a research grant into the applications of Lucky Toe, but I've had no funders yet. Your stats are not just dependent on the items you pick up, as different characters have different base stats. There are a bunch of characters in Isaac, so I'll be to the point in their descriptions. Isaac is basic vanilla boy, later becomes vanilla with the bits in after he gets a D6. Maggie is healthy but slow, Cain is fast but fragile. Samson gets angrier the more you hit him, like a normal person does. Judas has high damage at the cost of using a book? Am I saying that right? Azazel is the white man of Binding of Isaac. It doesn't make the game easy, but it sure helps. The Lost is the iPhone screen of characters. If it takes even the slightest amount of damage, it will die. Unless you have a screen protector, then it takes 2 shots. Blue Baby is spacebar to poo. The Keeper has replaced heart with money, like Western capitalistic society. Apollyon spacebar sucks stools stimulating a stat sore. Lilith can only attack from her little buddy trailing behind her. Lazarus can die and be reborn with increased stats, as Jesus did. If Bethany uses her goods right, she can gather a large amount of OnlyFans. Eden is the OMG I'm so random Isaac character. Jacob and Esau are the feeling of going cross-eyed in the form of an Isaac character. And I'm pretty sure that's all the main characters. I don't think there's anyone else I've misremembered. The story. The Binding of Isaac has a very simple story, with no religious connotations at all. Mechanics. To move around in Isaac, you use WASD, and to shoot you use the arrow keys. To lose any respect from your co-workers, any attraction you had left, and to be disowned by your parents, holding the R key allows you to reset the game, spawning in a new seed. You can use this until you have a good starting item that will make the rest of the run a bit easier. It's a viable tactic, but you gotta weigh that against the cost. To me, it was a pretty easy deal to make. Movement is very important in the game. Once you have mastered the diagonal walk, you've essentially mastered everything. The ability you believe you have in dodging projectiles is actually confirmation bias. You remember the time you pressed a combination of keys during the Hush fight and didn't get hit. You don't remember the 200 times you ran into spikes and died, ending a 30-minute run. Being good at the game is essentially just maxing out your chances for good items, knowing attack patterns and understanding what does what. So the best advice you'll ever get on how to beat the game is just play it a lot, and play through each run. Don't hold the R key for so long your fingers swell up to twice the size, and then try the same thing with your dick, but unfortunately it stayed the same size and now you pee blood. It's always the run you least suspect that spirals into a steamroll victory, and the run that starts with Polymorpheus that ends with a 20-minute Hush fight with you losing. Completing Isaac. So how do you beat the game? It's simple. using your tears, bombs and special items you find along the way to defeat rooms of enemies until you get to the boss. After beating the boss, you move on to the next slightly harder floor. If you defeat all these main bosses and the boss rush and greed mode on hard mode, you will get a beautiful full post-it note on one character. Because along the way you unlock new characters. You're not done until you do the same with all the new characters. And the sight of the completed screen on the main menu makes you realize there's 2 more save files to play on, which you have to complete to get the final menu. So just do everything you just did on every character 2 more times. You thought you could get off that easy? Every time you think you're done, Edward grabs you by the balls and pulls you back in. The Repentance DLC has dropped, and I know what you were thinking after beating Delirium as the Lost. This game needs to be substantially harder, and it is certainly lacking in content. It turns out you made Edward mad by holding R and resetting the game until you got a game-winning item early, and as punishment he made it so those items aren't as strong and you actually have to be good at the game to win. Drat. Now, not only the whole game is harder, bullets move faster and new enemies do worse things to you. Finally, you've done it. Peace hits you as you scroll through the characters, enjoying the full post-it notes. What's this? Press E to switch? Remember that weird key in that strange room? Well, that unlocks a tainted version of the character you're using. You can lock a tainted version of every character by doing the same thing. These characters have all new gameplay mechanics, some of which change how you play the game completely. Now you've got to do all of this again for every tainted character, including all the Delirium stuff, and Mega Satan, and Greedier, and the Beast, with 3 save files all on new fun strengths. Several decades later, when you've done this, it is done. You have earned your rest, and you can sleep with your fellow legends in Valhalla. It's a lot of content that will be missed by 99% of players. But perhaps the greatest feature of The Binding of Isaac is its low performance demand. The game can be played on a potato PC, and has enough content so that you don't even need to find other things to distract you from your final paper. 1,000 hours later, and you'll still be better at avoiding those responsibilities than avoiding getting hit on the first floor with Jacob and Esau.